material thing. No. I'm far from financial. I'm so far now. No, I'm not really. I'm far from financial. I'm so far now. I love this life.
Nothing else sounds as good as
WEFM, the clean, fresh sound.
Activated Mornings on WEFM 99.9 is on now.
All right, SVG. So we are, SVG, region and diaspora, or SVG, regional and international. Right. Put it that way. All right. So yes, we are back for another segment of our Activated Mornings program. This is the Talk to Me segment. And with you are listening to Christal and Roleza. We are here for another Activated Morning. This is our Talk to Me segment where we invite you, our listeners, to call, to pose questions to us, or if you have anything that you wish to share, you can do so during this particular time, right? So this is really the forum that is open to you, the listeners, to engage with us or to let us and the other listening public know what's up. All right. So we are going to give a bit of time, 10 seconds as usual. The number to call, whether it's direct or through WhatsApp, it is 457-9997. So you can go right ahead and call us at this time, because if you don't, we will propose a topic and we're going to talk on it. All right. So the 10 seconds count is on now.
I was counting on time.
Look for me. Oh, na. There we go. All right. So our topic for today, Talk to Me, is National Day of Volunteerism. And we're posing that question. Should there be a National Day of Volunteerism happening? All right. Now, this stemmed from an article that's on One St. Vincent News, and it was put forward by former government Senator and Minister of Health, Luke Brown. All right. So the article reads, former Minister of Health and current head of the Grace Eustace Foundation based in Mairo, Mr. Luke Brown has called for a day to be set aside for voluntary national cleanup of Beryl-affected communities across the country. Hurricane Beryl struck the multi-island state of St. Vincent and the Grenadines on July 1st, leaving a trail of destruction on mainland St. Vincent and the northern Grenadines, while almost annihilating the Grenadines, or the islands in the southern Grenadines, and Grenada's Carriacou and Petit Martinique. In an interview with One News St. Vincent on July 9th, on hurricane-battered Mairo Island in the southern Grenadines, Mr. Brown said, I think it would be a great idea if we were able to mobilize some cleanup teams and have a national cleanup day. Come to Mairo, come to Union Island, come to Canawan, and show solidarity with these persons. Mr. Brown, through personal funding and resources from like-minded individuals, took a team of laborers and builders to Mairo to begin a voluntary cleanup exercise. He also transported 2 trucks to the island to bolster the cleanup efforts of the local community. All right. So I'm not going to read the full extent of it because it's a bit lengthy, but you get the gist of it, right? Given that widespread damage has been done to the islands within the Grenadines, the southern Grenadines in particular, and even in Bequia and here on mainland, should we possibly consider having a day soon for a day of volunteerism? Right.
And this will be a holiday?
I guess it could be. Because yes, if it's a national day, then it most likely would have to be a holiday, right? I know that in Dominica, the day after their independence, there is a let me see what's the actual name of it. There is a day such as that where they have voluntary work that takes place on the island. Let me try to find the exact name of it, but I know that so I think it's on the 4th of November. No, hold on. Let me pull it up. So I don't sound like I'm talking off the top of my head.
In Dominica, you say?
Mhm.
Does it work? Do people
Actually
are
go
they
out?
seeing more people going out to volunteer to do things?
I think parts of it is, I'm not sure. I'd have to ask a Dominican if it actually works and if persons tend to go out. But one of the things that many service organizations struggle with is the fact that they find it difficult to find members, right? And that is because, let's say, unless somebody has been involved in so the day in Dominica is called National Day of Community Service. So it is on the 4th of November, and it's an annual day, and it is also a holiday. All right.
Oh,
So it's a day that nationwide there's a cleanup campaign asking local citizens to pick up litter that has accumulated on the country's streets as a result of the country's independence festivities that would have taken place the day before. All right. But one of the things that I can appreciate with this, and having been in service organization, and I've only been in one. No, I've been in two actually. Right. In the past is there is a bit of a struggle to find members, right? Because you tend to find that people do not want to engage in quote unquote work if there isn't going to be a reward for it, which is generally payment, right? So I can appreciate Dominica doing this because it's going to instill from the very young that giving back to the community or engaging in community related activities, even if it's just for one day, is their way of putting a hand or giving a hand to lending to developing their country.
all right. Let's take a call at this time. Hello, good morning. You didn't say Miss Queens.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
We missed you. It's been a whole 2 weeks without you. I was struggling, man.
Oh yeah. You miss me?
Yeah, severely.
Then hug and kiss me.
Come on.
You miss me.
Radio hug and kiss.
Yeah. So
Dave,
yeah,
tell us now. Mhm.
yeah. I see that you're talking about volunteer. I see National Volunteer Week in the United States is the third week in April 2025, the 20th to the 26th of April, National Volunteer Week.
Okay.
So, so Dominica have the one day, but the United States have a whole week for that.
Yeah. What do you think of it?
Well, sorry.
No, right. I was asking, what do you tend to think of it?
It's a good idea. That's the Peace Corps and stuff. They do volunteer work too, right? Peace Corps. Peace Corps that come from the United States.
Is it voluntary?
And do different.
I think so. Peace Corps.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's voluntary in a sense where they're not being paid. I'm not sure.
It's service. It's service.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Mm-hmm.
Both of you, Krista, you were in banking and you have knowledge about insurance in terms of knowledgeable about insurance and stuff, right?
A little bit. Tell me.
Have your background in banking.
A little
All right,
bit.
so let's say somebody satellite dish or the antenna fly off the roof and damage a neighbor's property. And both of them don't have insurance. Is that just an act of nature? Will it can be considered just an act of nature, or would the person whose antenna blow up be responsible for the damage that was caused to the other person's property?
Well, that's interesting because it's not like if your neighbor did anything on purpose. I really can't answer that. I'm not sure.
Could be an act of nature.
Yeah, so
I'm sure there are people who might be listening in the audience who might have some knowledge about that. And,
yeah, how does that work if
I might be able
during
to
a
respond.
hurricane?
Yeah.
I'm
You
not
never
sure.
thought about that before, eh?
No, I didn't think about it like because your neighbor didn't do anything
Yeah.
on purpose.
So say that again.
I know.
Something from the neighbor's property flew
Uh-huh.
off because of the high winds,
I
and
just say
mash up
antenna.
parts.
It could be anything. But I just
Anything.
say antenna or satellite dish. It could be
Right.
anything, yeah.
So something from your neighbor mash up your property in the process during the hurricane.
I think
Actually, no.
it may be, it's interesting because what it is I would look to ask is how secure was, let's say if it's a roof, how secure was the roof battened down in the first place? But of course, you're not necessarily going to know that information after the fact, right? Because the roof has already blown off. But if it wasn't secured properly, well, it still isn't deliberate.
I think it's just a matter, it just absorbed the cost. Because if somebody's roof fly off and end up in your property and your tree, something happens to like your dog house, where you going to lift up the roof and try to fit it on everybody else's house to see whose house roof it belongs to?
No, but I guess it's who pays for the damage.
No, but if you see the next door, if you see the next door neighbors, maybe you have cameras, maybe the I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, in terms of a disaster, I think this is a major exception, though. Might just have to absorb the cost. Everybody absorbing some cost of repair. That'll be real tedious, though. How are you going to prove that? How are you going?
Yeah, it's to prove it because it could have been a case where, let's say, you didn't batten it down properly in the first place, and as a result, it ended up in my yard or damaging something for me. But the thing of it is that is how you're going to prove that it wasn't done properly or it wasn't done at all in the first place.
I think we just leave that.
What about a tree? What about a neighbor tree? What about a neighbor tree fall on you?
There are some trees that should have been cut.
Yeah, this is one of those funny things. Well, tricky situations where, you know, we see the tree hanging over for a while. You may have pointed it out to your neighbor. You yourself may have just mentally thought and said, the tree needs the cut or the tree needs delimbing. And it was never done. And as a consequence, it ended up falling on you, you know?
That sounds like an exception. Like if there was a conversation before.
You have the police program. You think that could fit into the police program discussion because the police know the law.
Cop chat.
Police know law.
That was spoken about. I'm pretty sure we talked about like limbs and like property already. I'm pretty sure we did. But we didn't speak from a disaster perspective. Because nobody sits down and thinks about these things, like who's gonna compensate me. I think it's just for me. I will just accept the damage because it's a hurricane. I'm not gonna think, oh, somebody needs to compensate me. If anybody, just go and beg the government.
Yeah, but there are some persons who are going to say, well, it's your tree that end up on my roof, so you have responsibility for it.
But if the hurricane didn't come, the tree wouldn't end up on your property, though.
Yeah, but if you didn't trim it all along, if you didn't trim it all along, and especially if I've already asked you to trim it,
so. Is it that a limb break off or the tree is uprooted?
Yeah,
it's a
you see, there are a lot of gray areas in this. There's a lot of gray areas in this.
It depends. But
anyway, let me give wish to somebody else to get in. So have a good morning.
All right, no problem.
Thank you. You take care now. National Day of Volunteerism. Roleza, you're sounding like your answer is yes, we need.
Yeah, so I'm not even just looking at it in the context of with assistance to the damage caused by Beryl, right? If it happens at this time, I have absolutely no problem with it. But I do know that service organizations are finding it difficult to recruit members, particularly because young people, in most cases, young people do not want to get involved in service clubs because there is no payment to it. For them, they're just looking at getting money and not seeing, as I said before, I'm in a different program, the intrinsic rewards that you get from being a part of service organizations.
So there's actually an International Volunteer Day, 5th of December, pulling it from the United Nations website. I was trying to see the purpose of having a volunteerism day. All right. If everyone volunteer, the world will be a better place. The world will also be a better place without certain things too. But anyways, imagine more than 8 billion people of us volunteering. Well, limitless possibilities for sustainable development and what's not. Yeah, a lot of businesses might be put out of business too. Everybody.
If there are more volunteers?
If we have a lot of volunteers, some businesses will be put out. Capitalism would shrink. like would suffer. But anyways,
yeah, but in a
another day.
case where there are more, so let's look at it in the context of cleaning up the islands, the Southern Grenadines, islands within the Southern Grenadines after burial. The more hands you have on board in terms of the cleanup efforts, is the quicker in terms that the rebuilding efforts can start to take place. If we're going to just be looking at, let's say, a case of getting persons down to the islands in a paid context, now, yes, persons may go down and they may be paid. But if you have persons volunteering their time and their service, then the rebuilding or recovery efforts can begin quickly. And again, I'm looking at it from the standpoint of children, having them learn and appreciate what voluntary work is. Because not everything in life you are going to be paid for, right? Sometimes you have a problem within your home, you're going to ask your neighbor to come and assist you, right? You're going to ask kindly for your neighbor to come and ask and assist you. If everybody demanded payment or requested payment for everything that is done, then what's going to happen to that level of camaraderie, that level of reaching out and assisting each other? What's going to happen to being each other's social support?
True. I don't see anything wrong with volunteerism. I think it's absolutely necessary. But having locally a national day of volunteerism, until we get to the point where we appreciate volunteerism, I think it'll be a waste of time. And I say that because people are just going to take the day and gallivant.
Right. I'm so happy that you brought this up, right? Because that was also one of my concerns where if we have to declare a national day of volunteerism, then who is going to ensure that it's not going to become another party day?
It will.
Right? I always look at, I think the only day in SVG where it seems that we have some reverence is Good Friday. And I think the reason why it's because one, it's still, what happened?
Good Friday.
Yeah, things have changed?
Reverence.
Things have changed? No, but there's no amplified music to be played on Good Friday, right? Traditionally,
really?
It's in law. You cannot have amplified music on Good Friday, right? I think there's also no sale of alcohol on Good Friday. So things would need to be put in place to ensure that if this is a day that we are saying that is a day of volunteerism, that parties, events, amplified music, etc., doesn't end up happening.
Good luck.
It could happen.
Not even on Christmas Day.
So this is why I'm saying only Good Friday for me is a day of reverence, because there are actual laws in place.
Right. But why I feel... Okay. All right. You said that there are laws in place. I don't know about the laws. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no amplified music, no sale of alcohol.
Sale of alcohol on Good Friday?
I don't think I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, somebody could call and correct me, but I don't think that I'm wrong.
Okay. All right.
Right.
It's a holiday too, right? But maybe it's Easter Monday. You just have all the...
Easter Monday is where people have all the gallivanting, but Good Friday,
Sunday too. Good Friday. Okay, all right.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
I'm gonna take that.
Right. So that is it. If we are to do something like this, and again, I would love to see something like this happening. Yes, it could happen in the wake of Hurricane Beryl, but maybe just even thought about on another time within the year, just to be able to instill that reaching out, assisting, being of service, community spirit, community mindedness, all that good stuff. Mindedness. Right? All that good stuff. In terms of being able to assist each other. Because not everything could be about money. And also it's the other things that you learn from being a part of assisting somebody else. That
True.
Good warm feeling that you get when you help somebody.
Fuzzy.
Yeah.
Same feeling you get when you hug somebody. Go out and hug somebody today. Ding. Make a nice idea. But there's another point I wanted to make on this thing here and I forget. Schools. I mean, a lot of things, and people know this is very, very standard. You have to start with young people. Once you get the younger folks involved from a very early age, it'll be a lot easier in the long run. It'll take a couple of years for things to turn around because adults, them head hard. Sometimes they just don't care to understand certain things. Case in point, Annersville, behind that bus stop there, Highway Trading bus stop, the Seventh Adventists go and clean it. Two toots look, the place dirty as ever. They don't hate, they harden, and they nasty too. I finish ranting.
And with that, good folks, let's bring it down a little bit. We are going to jump right into community dateline for today.
WEFM is SVG.